Guys, the more I read your comments on this channel with the 1,800 doctors potentially about to leave South Africa and 38,000 taxpayers who have already left by way of changing their tax residencies from South Africa, and then also the fact that 1,700 millionaires have actually left South Africa, taking all of that taxable income out of South Africa, it's really getting disturbing, you know, with all the problems that actually is going on right now. And in this video here, you can actually hear Gayton McKenzie really highlight something really important that we might have missed in this whole analysis. And it's the fact that he argues also with JJ here, this was an interview just prior to the elections in May 29, but he still holds a lot of fact that about 26 million South Africans are on welfare. About 26 million South Africans are on SASSA. And this 350 rand, which these South Africans receive, is actually supposed to be accrued from the tax revenue that's actually collected from taxpayers. Now, if we argue that this large amount of taxpayers and the possibility of, like, these doctors, for example, who should be paying these taxes are actually now taken out of the system, it's really difficult to understand where SASSA would be gotten from in the near future. And what would happen to the 26 million people who are actually depend on SASSA when the tax revenue that should be funding SASSA is out? Gayton McKenzie is actually blasting the government here, arguing that South Africa shouldn't be bragging or shouldn't be proud of SASSA, and that South Africans have to slowly start becoming independent in their mindset and the ways of generating income in light of the high unemployment rate in South Africa of 33%. Let's quickly listen to how he breaks down this problem with SASSA and his solution for how to get South Africans out of SASSA, and I'll be back for a simple analysis.
So, we have a serious problem with crime.
Yeah.
Do you know that all the Serbian mafias, the Russian mafias, the Nigerian Black X mafia, all the head offices are here.
Sure.
In South Africa. All the most wanted criminals are coming to South Africa because our things are so lax.
So loose. Yeah.
Do you know that 94% of all killings that happen by firearm are police-issued firearms that were stolen?
My God.
Now, it is better not to give them firearms for a certain point of time because the firearms are killing the citizens. I'm just saying these things are practical things that needs to be changed. You can just equip the police. You can't be a policeman. And you can't even walk from here to there, then you are tired. Some of the policemen are so obese.
Sure.
Give him a choice to say you are getting 3 months leave, come back.
Lose some weight.
He must inspire confidence. You know you can steal this bottle of water in front of him and walk. He will not even run after you because you know he's not going to run 10, 20 meters. Energy.
Yeah.
Energy, I want to tell South Africans, it's self-inflicted. We are self-inflicting this ESCOM thing. There's no power. It's downright stupidity of the highest order. South Africa has sun. South Africa is sun for solar. South Africa has wind for wind power at night. Sun during the day, wind during the night. South Africa has vast fields of land for solar farms. South Africa must build transmission to be able to transmit energy from one place to another.
You don't think that they're beginning to sort it out? I mean,
with so much red tape.
With a new
in and be a minister. You know, you look at Minister Gayton McKenzie. He really wants to explore the possibility of taking our gas out. We're sitting on the world's 8th largest gas deposit. But now you must talk to people that talk about the scorpions are going to die, the sheep is going to, let them die. The people are already dying with load shedding, there's no oxygen for their machines. We need decisive leadership. We need leadership that comes in and say, listen, now we are putting the citizens first, not the market. The market will find its niche in whatever you do. But the citizens seem to struggle. And the third biggest problem that nobody speaks about that we're having, and I think is the most serious one, 18 million people in South Africa are on welfare.
Sure.
And our government breaks about
it's actually 26 million if you add the 500 rand one.
Yes. And our government brags about it, and it's not something to brag about. You must be ashamed that your citizens are not self-sufficient, that your citizens are getting welfare and SASSA. It's the mindset we need to change. Now, if you have a third of your citizens on welfare,
social grants, yeah.
So, I remember I was in China, and I'll never forget this incident, JJ. I went to buy my son a toy. I was late, so I was early, I'm like, I still have 2 hours, let me get him a toy. So I go to the toy shop. I get to the toy shop, there's a boy in front of the toy shop with a bell.
Yeah.
He's disabled. He's got a bell in the right hand, and he's got his handkerchief here to wipe the spit that's coming out of his mouth. And all he does is telling. And I was looking at this thing like, and I called the manager. I said, may I ask you something? I'm curious. I said, who really work here? He says, yes. He brings attention to it. I said, does he get a salary? He says, yes, we pay him. In South Africa, that man who sat at home, we have people that's trying to break their arms.
Yeah.
Paying doctors, corrupt doctors sometimes, put me on welfare. Sure. Our people have stopped dreaming. I am saying that we need to bring that to be in a wheelchair. We have one of our best people in the PA in a wheelchair, the best. Do you know? He's so smart, so active, whatever. I'm saying those type of people that's in a wheelchair, someone in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Give him a real job in government. Let him sit at a reception. Just take people off welfare.
Finally. Yeah, brilliant, guys. So I don't know what you guys think. I think it's a really sad state of affairs. I remember I was speaking about in my last video how probably one of the things that saved Nigeria, where I come from, is the fact that this whole thing with SASA wasn't really a thing. In Nigeria, there's really nothing like SASA. Probably, I don't know, because of the population. I think in South Africa, the population goes about 50, 60 million. In Nigeria, we're speaking about hundreds of millions already. So I don't know how SASA can function there, but I think it's a way in which it saved the nation, in that, a lot of people know that when they wake up, they're like a Kenyan zoo. It says that in the zoo in Kenya, the gazelle and the lion actually wake up, with different worldviews. The lion wakes up and knows that if he doesn't get a gazelle in the day, it's gonna get hungry and probably lose itself. So when the lion wakes up in the day, it's running. The gazelle also knows that if he doesn't wake up and escape from probably potential danger, being the fact that it's a really attractive prey to most of these animals in the zoo, it actually has to wake up knowing that fact and running. So at the end of the day, both the lion and the gazelle in the Kenyan zoo actually wake up running. And that's how Nigeria is. Nigeria is such a nation where every morning you wake up, you know that you actually should get running, all right? So that mentality, keeps dreamers alive. It keeps dreams alive. And if you could hear from Gayton McKenzie here, he actually argues that SASA seems to have killed that potential to dream among South Africans. Everyone slowly starts now depending on the fact that there's free money coming from somewhere, and at the end of the day, it takes away that potential to keep on dreaming, all right? And that is the problem I have with a welfare state, the whole welfare mentality. And this is something I'm going to be breaking down a lot this year, on how we as Africans can slowly start escaping this whole idea that there's free money somewhere. There's nothing free in this world, all right? We have to slowly get beyond that mentality that, even the whole idea of a job, a salary. I'll be doing documentaries on my finance channel on this, on the history of how the job came to really cloud our minds as the only way with which we can raise income and kind of like sustain our living. There has to be other alternatives, all right? And so this is one problem I see among South Africans. In my last video as well with the digital nomads, I saw a video on TikTok about this young, I think she's a really young South African, black South African, who was angry with the digital nomads for coming to South Africa, arguing that they don't pay taxes, and that they come to South Africa and they increase the rents and all that. I agree, that's a kind of like logical argument. But another way to also start thinking about these things is to really understand what these digital nomads are doing. These are young lads of 22, 23, 19-year-olds who actually sometimes make as much as $20,000, $20,000, $30,000 in a month, all right? And we have South Africans struggling for 350 Rand in a month, struggling. So we really should slowly start seeing and asking questions the right way. What are these digital nomads doing? How is it that they are able to gather so much income at this young age and really coming, to the place where they are so independent, they do not care. They have so much confidence in themselves and do not care about, these hardships and these difficulties. They believe that they can really thrive wherever you place them, and they really are now traveling around the world. We see that Elon Musk now in the US, I think I saw a post today that was saying that now that Elon Musk is now, going to be taking part in the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency that Donald Trump is about to introduce when he steps into government, a lot of Americans are finding South Africa now more attractive. So we might be seeing much more influx of Americans and these digital nomads, so to speak, in South Africa. So South Africans need to really brace up, because one thing I've come to understand about money is that money follows where opportunity goes. All right, so money is not a respecter, so to speak, of people who do not understand it. So if you continue to really get angry with these digital nomads or people who are really doing well, and at the end of the day, hopefully think that, in South Africa, there's a safe haven like SASA, and that's what Gayton McKenzie is criticizing in this video, then I think that, that's a really dangerous path to thread, because the future, the future of this world doesn't seem to show signs that it's going to ever get better. So we, the people, now have to be the ones who get better to be able to thump above difficult circumstances and all that. So this is something I see with all the doctors that are going to be fired, about as much as 1,800 doctors. And I think that they're mostly black, confused, really not understanding. They don't understand what to do. The only option now, one viable option, would be to go abroad. I saw some comments also under that video that spoke about, I think these are white South Africans now, who spoke about that they've left South Africa a long time ago. And they departed the country because they couldn't see a future, you see, in South Africa. All right. And so the whole idea about now having to lose as much as 1,800 doctors, I think it's scary, you see. So there has to be a way in which, we Africans, and this is not just South African, but this is African generally, that we have to slowly start seeing, a way to now start viewing the abundance that actually exists in this world, and start thinking about in terms of alternatives and solutions, rather than really having this dependent mindset, so to speak. Now that we have no jobs, there's 33.3% unemployment rate in South Africa. In other African countries, some are actually even higher. All right, there are no jobs. But there has to be a different way to now start slowly thinking. And this is actually one of the ways in which I think I'm going to be coming through. As I spoke about this last year, I saw some of you in your comments already asking me when I'm going to launch the Digital Nomads course. My goal is to try to train digital nomads in Africa and have digital nomads who are Africans traveling in Africa and really trying to really understand what this, a different alternative, the different path to circumvent this whole search for jobs and all that. And so this is the message I'll be leaving with you. This video is not going to be long at all, but I was just really struck by Gayton McKenzie's highlighting the fact that, and JJ Tabane actually even interjecting in that 26 million South Africans are on welfare. I mean, it's difficult to really imagine how a nation can function like this. Anyway, what do you think about this? Comment this video. Share your thoughts. It's striking. I'm lost for word, but share your thoughts in the comments.